95%, over 95% of people will quit their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January every single year without fail. And this is how not to make that mistake on a continuous basis. And to be honest with you, this is a concept that I've spoken about previously, but it's the concept of time. And I've made this point before, but essentially understanding and comprehending the fact that time is simply a human construct. So this notion that on the 1st of January that things will be different for you, that automatically you will have this newfound divine energy to get the motivation and alter and change your life and never look back again, is completely preposterous. It's fantasy, it's fairy tale. 15th of December and 1st of January have absolutely no difference whatsoever, because time and numbers is simply a human construct. So as I record this video on the 2nd of November, what is stopping you from making a change today, but instead you're going to wait just under 2 months for the 1st of January to really make a real change in your life? The reality is the 3 factors. It's fear, procrastination, and instant gratification. These 3 issues, and of course with instant gratification, is tied with addiction. The problem is when you put off something for the 1st of January, in this case, in this example, what you are doing is you are procrastinating, because what you need to change in your life, whether it's a habit, whether it's an addiction, whether it's the current predicament that you're in, you clearly don't value it enough. You clearly don't see it as a thing that's necessary. You don't see it as a priority. And you can argue with me as much as you want, but that is the reality of the situation. Because if you as an individual was genuinely fed up of a scenario, you would make an adjustment today. You wouldn't wait just under 2 months. That is the truth of the matter. If, for example, and I've used this analogy before, you lay on a hot bed full of rocks that's absolutely scorching, burning your back off, would you wait 2 months to move and adjust? No, you'd adjust instantly, because the situation is too uncomfortable. Change will only occur when the pain of the current situation is far superior of the pain of change, because then that's when change will occur. The problem is you have things like fear, you have things like procrastination, because these are paths of resistance. The law of diminishing intent states that the longer you wait to do something, the less likely you are to do it. And that's exactly the situation that you find yourself in. The longer you wait to make a change, eventually you won't even bother making the change anyway. I've experienced this time on numerous occasions, whether it's I need to study for an exam, but I'll do it. Let's say I wake up in the morning, I need to study for an exam. I'll wait for the end of the day, so that I have this whole day, I've given myself the license to do whatever I want to do. You get to the evening, you have an excuse. Oh, I'm too tired, I'll do it in the morning. And the morning comes, you keep pushing it off. It's the same concept. So when someone tells me, and I've had this before because so many family members tell me, even a mate of mine the other day, I had this huge back and forth dilemma with him. He said, on the 1st of November, I'm going to cut out processed sugar. And I knew he wasn't serious. I knew he wasn't serious because, as I said, time is a human construct. He wants to give himself another 2-3 days, a license to screw around, mess around, and consume more sugar before he actually begins. And I know that he's going to fail, because the addiction, so to speak, the habit, it's not painful enough. The pain of his current situation doesn't outweigh the pain of change. Now, here's how to fix it. And as I said, the vast majority of the populace make this crucial mistake. But again, it's a concept that I learned in a book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Phenomenal book that I can only implore and recommend that you guys read. And it's a concept that James Clear speaks about. It's the plateau of latent potential. And what it essentially is, it's a graph. It's reminiscent of an asymptote, not quite, very, very similar to an asymptote. So what it is, if you can imagine a graph, you have the x variable and you have the y variable. And you have an asymptote that sort of ticks, almost like a Nike tick, but a lot more curvier, so to speak. It has a bigger curvature. And what it is you have a straight line. So a straight line that's directly proportional. Imagine a diagonal line. Imagine a graph like this. And you have a diagonal line that goes across like that. Straight diagonal line. Both variables directly proportional. That is what the human mind, so you and me, initially will perceive how progress will be made. So I put in X amount of input. I expect X amount of output in return from what I've inputted. However, reality in the universe doesn't work like that. And this is what James Clear speaks about. The asymptote is reality. So the straight diagonal line is how we perceive progress. The asymptote, which goes basically across the line. So imagine, as I said, the graph, and you have a line that goes like that, and imagine if this is 0, and that's the line. The reality is the asymptote, which basically goes along here, which goes under the line, and eventually over time suddenly peaks up and crosses the line. But obviously there's that gap in the middle. That gap in the middle is a value of disappointment. So the value of disappointment is very important, because in the value of disappointment, that gap between how we perceive progress and success to reality is where most people are discouraged, and most people end up giving up on their dreams and goals because they don't see tangible progress in front of them. But this is what I tell you guys all the time. It's the compound effect. And I mentioned this briefly in the video last night. It's the compound effect. For a large period of time, you may never see progress. And that's why I say the best thing to do as a young man is to think in decades, is to think in 5 to 10 years, is to think in 3 years, and don't expect anything in return. Put your head down and grind, and don't expect any results, even if it's minute. Don't expect any results for at least at the bare minimum 12 months. Do not expect any results in return, because you are at the value of disappointment. There is a gap between the input. There is a gap between the hard work and the dedication and the ultimate success. That is the value of disappointment. That is a stage that you, gentlemen, you, my friend, are in. That's why you're not seeing progress. That's why you're struggling. It feels difficult. It feels like you're trudging through mud. You're trudging through quicksand, and it looks like you're peering over and people are sprinting with ease. You are in the valley of disappointment. You just have to continue. This is why I never believe in motivation, because motivation will only get you so far. This is where discipline is required. It's doing it when you don't feel like it. You're in that stage, as I said, of valley of disappointment. And this is the concept that James Clear puts beautifully. It is the latent, of latent potential, is the plateau of latent potential. You, my friend, are at the stage of valley of disappointment. And that's why I say that 95% of the population, and that is not a made-up fact, that is a fact that has been conducted. You can go and look at it on Google for yourself, that by the 3rd week of January, most of the population will give up on their New Year's resolutions, because the mentality is wrong. They have the wrong paradigm, because they assume that on that day that they're going to have this newfound energy, that they're going to transform into this new individual. But that's not how reality works. That is not how reality works, because numbers and time is simply a human construct. The pain of your current situation has to outweigh the pain of change in order for you to make a difference. I started, for example, I remember the date where I started, and it was the 18th of September, not this year, but the 18th of September of a particular year. I decided that enough was enough, that I changed my life. An event occurred. It wasn't a monumental event. It was a series of mini events that occurred that enabled me to change my current predicament and my situation. But 18th of September of a particular year is when I made a difference. Now, 18th of September doesn't sound like a fantastic day. It's not a round number. It doesn't sound like the 1st of January. It doesn't sound like the 1st of February. It doesn't sound like the 5th of May. It was the 18th of September on a Wednesday, because the number isn't important. I was so fed up of my current situation that I said, enough is enough. I need to make a change. And when you're at that stage where you genuinely are uncomfortable with your predicament and that you have to make a change, it's do or die, you couldn't give a toss if it's the 1st of January. You're going to make the change today. And that is the point. That is how you change. Stop relying, stop waiting for the 1st of December, it's never going to change. Because if you wait, my friend, you're going to wait until the 1st of January to make a change. You might do well for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you'll drop off. It's going to happen. It's bound to happen. It's inevitable, because the mindset is wrong. So hopefully I've given you guys a clear path and understood and really broken down the compound effect in certain ways. And I'm almost obsessed with the compound effect, because it's a small window where only a few % of the population actually make it through and actually see the fruits of their labor, because they don't get discouraged by the value of disappointment. So hopefully you've comprehended what I've said. As I said, timelines, numbers, it's all a human construct. If you genuinely want to make a change, you'll make a change right now. That is a reality. Hopefully you found value in the video. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.